Well, being able to address tort reform, probably would not have happened without the efforts of Texans for Lawsuit Reform.
The early vision and success of Texans for Lawsuit Reform was largely due to the work of a handful of men from Houston, Texas. In the first episode, we covered why TLR was needed, the group's successes, and its quick rise to power. But who are the men behind the vision to reform Texas courts? In this episode, we'll learn who they are, their backgrounds, and their roles in the organization that, unbeknownst to most citizens, changed Texas. From Texas Scorecard, I'm Valerie Munoz, and this is Exposed, the Beast of Austin.
Is justice for sale in Texas?
TLR, I think, can crown itself with the laurel that they are responsible for taking a legal system and turning it into the model.
I think because of their power and their ability to raise lots of money from very wealthy people in Texas, they view themselves as invincible.
It's morphed into a beast of Austin.
I think Texas for Lawsuit Reform has long since passed its prime. It is on another path. It should just go away.
In 2005, Texas Monthly writer Mimi Swartz credited the four men who launched TLR with creating the most powerful lobbying organization in Texas. These men were Leo Limbeck Jr., Richard Weekley, Dick Trabulsi, and Hugh Rice Kelly. While Limbeck and Kelly were critical in driving TLR's success, the two men who have run TLR since its inception are Dick Weekley and Dick Trabulsi. Here's how Limbeck put it.
Dick Weekley, who is the energy of the enterprise, if I could be so bold as to say that, and Dick Trabulsi, who is the intellectual actor in seeing that it is implemented in a manner consistent with the goals of the group.
Dick Trabulsi went further in praising Dick Weekley.
But for Dick Weekley, TLR would have never come into existence, and therefore the most comprehensive tort reform in American history would not have taken place.
Have you heard of Weekley Homes? Dick Weekley's brother started the company with Dick's help in the 1970s. Professionally, Weekley has been dealing with and developing real estate for more than 50 years. Researching this episode, we found him retelling a similar story whenever asked about his professional background.
Well, I did get back from the Navy in 1971 and need a job, so I got a job selling real estate. And was doing pretty well, started my own company 2 years later.
When his brother was fired from a real estate company and needed a start, Dick provided capital to start Weekley Homes, and the rest is history. In multiple background interviews, Dick was described as a masterful salesman, networker, and unparalleled fundraiser. While his brother leads the family business, Dick has directed his energy to other pursuits, chiefly TLR. While Weekley serves as an energetic hype man, Dick Trabulsi runs the organization day to day.
Did you also talk to Dick Trabulsi?
Not at that time, no.
How soon after that did you talk to Dick Trabulsi?
I think
you know who I'm talking about, don't you?
It's the leader.
Tell us who he is.
I believe he's the leader of Texans for Lawsuit Reform.
In 2013, Texas Monthly labeled Dick Trabulsi the Juggernaut, noting TLR's successes and the power of its PAC. The 78-year-old has been at TLR since the beginning. Trabulsi, a Democrat, has a long history in Texas politics. He and his family supported Jimmy Carter's presidential campaign and administration.
There was a major headline on the editorial page of the Atlanta Constitution that said Jimmy Carter is running for what?
His nephew, Mark Strama, was an Austin-based Democrat state representative. Trabulsi clerked for LBJ-appointed Democrat Judge Homer Thornberry. He ran the 1976 Jimmy Carter Gulf Coast campaign and the 1986 campaign of Democrat Mike Andrews. The Trabulsi family were noted Democrat Party fundraisers in the 1990s. In 1991, Trabulsi co-hosted a Bill Clinton fundraiser in Houston.
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is. Yeah.
Trabulsi's political giving switched when TLR launched in the mid-1990s. He now mostly gives to establishment Republicans, those traditionally at odds with their base on social and spending issues. As we covered in the first episode, in the 1990s and early 2000s, TLR operated in a system where Democrats still held some of the levers of power. Here's Trey Traynor, an attorney and current commissioner on the Federal Election Commission who worked in the Texas Capitol, talking about moving legislation.
That's how you would advance something, especially when you have a critical issue like tort reform and you know you're going to have Republican and Democrat votes to get it passed. So you were definitely going to have some Democrats who would come along. That's not the case today.
While they needed to partner with Democrats in the 90s and early 2000s, by 2012, Democrats were marginalized. Major public policy wins didn't require Democrats. Red State Blog noted that C, quote, desired to see the Democratic Party become competitive again, and for Democrats to be in a position of strength to influence public policy in Texas, unquote. Thanks in part to TLR's position in Austin, Democrats have maintained power. Tools they are empowered to use include the selection of the Speaker of the House and chairing powerful committees. Here's political commentator Luke Macias explaining why.
So this guy walks in to meet with Texans for Lawsuit Reform for an interview, and he's thinking the questions he's going to get are, what do you think about lawsuit reform? And the first question they ask him, he sits down and they go, what do you think about Democrat chair?
Incoming State Representative Mitch Little put it this way.
TLR views those Democrat chairs as useful to kill the bills that they don't want. And so if you are able to be placed into a position of power and called upon by TLR for some purpose at some point in time, they probably find Democrat chairs useful.
Here's Macias again.
Now, what they don't say is, we want Democrats to chair the committees that we need to see legislation go through, right? They want Republicans who they've given money to, who they have influence over.
Aiding TLR in its efforts are lawmakers beholden to the well-funded lobbying operation. These elected officials carry legislation and jump when TLR says so, hoping for a payday when they leave office.
They fund people who carry their bills. And I think you can look at this upcoming election and past elections, you'll see that the people that do their bidding, whatever it is, no matter how far out it is and far past the goals that originally were set, those people get paid in campaign dollars, and that helps them stay in office.
Currently, Republican State Representative Jeff Leach, chairman of the Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence Committee, is a chief conduit of TLR's agenda in the Texas House. In 2019, irked by local governments suing opioid companies, TLR had Leach author a House bill, moving lawsuit approval to the Attorney General's office. This attempt to shield Big Pharma would have been a massive success had their hand-picked candidate, Eva Guzman, toppled AG Ken Paxton in 2022. Paxton went on to secure a $3.1 billion opioid settlement with Walmart in December 2022. Paxton has won billions in similar suits. In 2021, TLR and Leach also pushed a measure shielding businesses from liability for COVID-19 policies. Identical Senate legislation became law. We'll revisit Leach and his work for TLR in later episodes. TLR and Trabulsi in particular continued to carve out space for Democrats. Trabulsi spoke glowingly about Democrats having meaningful committee assignments in the Texas House despite the GOP controlling every statewide office and majorities in both chambers.
In Texas, the minority party is respected by the majority party and is a full participant in the legislative process, wrote Trabulsi.
In a December 2023 press release, it was announced that Trabulsi would be focusing on the activities of TLR PAC, one of the most active and effective political action committees in the state. The same announcement named a new president of TLR, but was careful to note that TLR founders Dick Weekly, Dick Trabulsi, and Hugh Rice Kelly will remain active in the daily operations of TLR and its sister organizations.
So to be fair, you see this as an internecine war between Republican factions trying to unseat Paxton?
No doubt about it. He's a proxy.
I'm aware that there are certain members who want to get rid of General Paxton for whatever reason in the worst possible way. And I'm here to tell you that what we are doing is absolutely the worst possible way.
Tune in next time as we detail TLR's role in a failed political coup, fully becoming the beast it was created to slay. Thank you for listening to Exposed. This episode featured interviews with Mitch Little, Luke Macias, Ken Paxton, Mark Pulliam, and Trade Trainer. We thank them for their participation.
Exposed is a product of Texas Scorecard, the leading source on government and culture in Texas. For more information, go to texasscorecard.com.